Fine. My voice remained impassive. Brenda's voice rose. Fine? Did you hear what I said? Yes, dear. You're going on a date with another man this Friday? And you're okay with that? Her surprise was impossible to ignore. Not at all. But what choice do I have? Like you said, I don't control you. You're on your own. Your voice and facial expression tell me you're determined to go through with this. So what choice do I have left? I'll be back. Don't let your fragile male ego get in the way. I love you and I'll make it right. You'll see. Then you know it's wrong. I kept my voice calm and steady again. What do you mean? I didn't say anything like that. I deserved it. Would your parents and mine agree with you? Brenda lowered her eyes and didn't answer. A dead giveaway. I let the moment settle in her mind. It wasn't visible, but I knew it was still there. You know, and I know they won't. Do what? You know what you're doing is wrong. You just said it. What? When? Why else did you say you'd make it up to me? If it was dinner with friends, you wouldn't have to make it up to me. Or if you went to get a haircut. You only said it because you know what you're doing is wrong. And you know it makes you an evil person. Her voice betrayed uncertainty. But you said I could do it. No, I never have. And I never will. I only admitted that I had no power to stop you. I certainly don't approve of it in any way. I wish you'd stay with me or go out with me. We could go to the same restaurant and afterward to the same dance club. But it's not about food or dancing, is it? You prefer company, and that company isn't me. You want that. What's his name? Am I right? The upturned head and silence. What's his name then? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter? I'm not going to argue about it. Just know this. I don't want you walking around with Mr. Found. And meeting him on Friday will have consequences. What consequences? Like you with Mr. Hound. I'm not saying you're not only beautiful, you're smart. I keep telling you those two things. Apparently, you think I only say it because I have to. I don't. I say them because I mean them. I leave it to you, smart woman, to guess for yourself the consequences of going out with Mr. Hound on Friday instead of me. You're bluffing. You love me. You always give me what I want. Well, I want it, and like I said, I'll come back, and we'll love each other and grow old together. I can't keep you from doing stupid things, but you've been warned. You're on your own. I got up, grabbed my keys, and left before she could say anything else. All week, the apartment had been chilly, to say the least. Thursday night, I picked up my stuff and moved into the guest room. What are you doing, Rick? Stopping with an armful of clothes, I looked at her. Like a 2-year-old? Looks like I grossly overestimated your intelligence. What do I seem to be doing? You're moving. Yes, my wife wants to date other men. You think I'm going to sleep in the same room with a cheating underserved? Dream on. Her voice took on the sing-song quality of a 5-year-old tease. You're such a little boy. Without a word, I grabbed an armful of clothes, hung them in a vacant closet, and went back for another batch. So now you're trying to punish the big, bad witch with silence? She smirked. See how pathetic you are? Consequences. That was my only response. She couldn't say she wasn't warned. Friday afternoon, I got off early and went to a high-end unisex salon, where I got a professional modern haircut, a clean razor shave, and a manicure. No shiny stuff on my nails, really. At the men's clothing store next door, I bought a casual, elegant button-down shirt, slacks, and a jacket. I thought about new shoes but decided that new shoes and dancing didn't mix, so I declined. On the way home, I stopped at a car wash and had them do a deep clean. My truck didn't know what to do with itself. At home, I took a shower, and when I heard Brenda come in and take a shower, I went downstairs and waited. Half an hour later, she came down wearing a new dress I had never seen before, a few inches above the knee, giving the world a generous view of her outfit. She stopped on the last step and looked at me, as if expecting a compliment. When I remained silent, she looked at me a second time, and her eyes widened. Wow, you look sharp. Where are you going? Outside. What did you think? Mimicking her tone, I continued. That your unremarkable husband would just sit at home and wait patiently? Shaking my head slowly, I opened the door to the garage and added, "And here I thought you were smart. How can someone be so mistaken? Well, I don't want to be late. Charmaine doesn't like to be kept waiting." Getting into my clean truck, I heard a shout and smiled. Gotcha. Charmaine and I spent a terrific evening at a stylish lounge that served light dinners. On weekends, a live pianist played, creating the perfect ambience. At work, we had already discovered that conversation between us flowed easily. Even better, she appreciated my humor. Yes, it's a cliché, but it's true. Few things make a person feel more connected than shared laughter. Dancing together felt effortless. We moved in sync, exchanging playful glances and light touches. However, we both knew that I was still married and understood what that meant, so we kept things respectful. Instead, we enjoyed a relaxed evening, sipping wine and exchanging easy conversation. Brenda, as I said, is confident and passionate. However, passion often comes hand in hand with strong emotions, and I had a feeling the idea of me enjoying another woman's company would weigh on her mind. When I dropped Charmaine off at her apartment, she smiled and playfully dabbed a touch of her perfume onto my shirt. She kissed me on the cheek and wished me good night. "Go get some rest, champ." We laughed as I got into my truck and drove home. It was barely 10 when I walked in. "Where have you been?" Brenda asked. "Out," I replied casually. "You never told me where you went tonight, either. But honestly, I'm not asking. I had a great evening, and I appreciate the push to do something for myself." "What do you mean, thank you?" "Well, if you hadn't suggested we explore other social circles, I never would have taken the opportunity to spend time with someone as interesting as Charmaine. She's incredible, smart, funny, engaging. So, thank you." Brenda's expression shifted, and she suddenly looked flustered. "Are you serious?" I shrugged. "Absolutely." She let out a sharp breath, frustration written all over her face. For a moment, I wondered if the neighbors could hear the tension in her voice. "You know, I hate that, underscore. Why do you think she was the first person I called?" She stared at me, stunned. What did you say?" Once again, I seemed to have overestimated her intelligence. "Pull yourself together for a second. This isn't rocket science. You decided to reject me and rub my nose in it by dressing up for some anonymous, wearing clothes you've never worn for me, and you're surprised when I follow your lead? You renegotiated the terms of our marriage without my objection, and I just did what you did. The only difference is that I was honest enough to tell you who I was going out with. For some strange reason, you're too ashamed of your accomplices to name them. So, Ms. Rocket Scientist, what exactly is your problem?" The wind swept her sails away. Brenda deflated before my eyes, 2 tears rolling down her cheeks. Without giving her a chance to catch her breath, I continued. "Let me guess. Kevin South didn't get you tonight like he'd hoped?" Another squeal, this time full of pathos, filled the air, and she clamped her hands over her mouth. "How do you know?" Using the voice of a game show announcer, I said, "Once again, the inadequacy of your mind is on full display. Think for once. You work in an office with at least 10 other women. Kevin is the biggest lover of girls you'll ever meet. Everyone there knows who's sleeping with who, and they talk about it. That's what you did. So, P-Brain, did you think for a second that you would be the exception? For over a month, several of your so-called friends have been telling me that you not only fell for Kevin's crap, but you started looking for him yourself. Google-eyed, one of your coworkers called it. Who knows, maybe he dumped her for you. No rage and all that. Rumor has it he was going to make you his tonight. He even had a room at the Marriott. Apparently, he's using the Marriott for the first night. After that, it's the Motel 6 or the woman's house. You didn't know that." Her big eyes told me she was shocked and appalled at being made to look ignorant, gullible, and such an easy target. She burst into tears. "Oh, Rick, I'm so sorry. You're right, I'm such a fool. How can you stand being married to a stupid like me?" "Ah, Brenda, the good news is I don't have to. I don't have to stay married to your stupid underscore. You'll be served here tomorrow after breakfast. We're renting this house, and we have 3 more months. So you can renew your contract or use that time to find something you like better. Where will you go? She asked in a thin voice. Charmaine said I could stay with her while I figure something out. She has a second bedroom she uses for an office. She said, we can discuss better terms. When I told her I'd file tomorrow, she laid out those terms, the good ones. I can't wait to discuss them further. Everything else you and I have, we'll just split it in half. Now, you can sleep with whoever you want, and you won't have to put up with crap from a wimpy husband. I hope Kevin is worth it. Epilogue. I met some of the other husbands who had fallen victim to Kevin, nicknamed Mr. Hound. One night, after dinner, he discovered his car had been vandalized. Windows broken, paint scratched, baby poop all over the seats, wheels stolen, and I forget what else. While he was surveying the damage, 3 masked unknown men, dressed in all black, silently robbed him and beat him badly. The police were puzzled as to why the robbers would go after his wallet and fake Rolex after his family jewels. But since there were no witnesses and the parking lot cameras were painted over, they had nothing to focus on. The 4 spouses of his victims were playing poker at one of their homes. After he recovered, he moved out of state. No one knows where, doesn't matter. Brenda moved, found an apartment, but when she realized I was happily attached to Charmaine, she moved out of state too. I never saw her again. I stayed with Charmaine for a while longer, but we mutually decided that short-term pleasure didn't necessarily lead to long-term compatibility. So, I moved out and found a townhouse closer to work. As I got older, wiser, and fitter, I found common ground with a coworker at the gym I frequented. One thing led to another, as these moments usually do, and I found happiness with a man who had real brains between his ears and loyalty in his heart.